My name's Pat Finley, and I'm the pastor here at Hamlin, and just wanted to share a little bit about my journey with Christ thus far. I was raised in a Christian home. My mom and dad were divorced kind of right when I was born, but both of them knew the Lord, and both of them had me in church whenever I was with one of them. And so I can't ever remember a time in my life when I didn't know at least about Jesus. My grandma was the caretaker of a church when I was a kid, and some of my earliest memories are helping her straighten the hymn books after church on Sunday morning and helping her pick up gum wrappers and stuff on Sunday nights. And so I was always in church, but it took me a long time to really understand who Christ was. When I was 11, I went forward into church, in my home church, which was South Haven Baptist Church here in Springfield. And I was asked questions, do you know the Lord? Do you know Christ? And sure, I knew those things. And so I said yes, and a few weeks later I was baptized, and I don't take anything away from that. But I wrestle with when exactly the Lord came into my life. It was about 10 years, from 11 to 21, of just trying to wrestle with, did I know the Lord? Did I have a relationship with Him or not? And so fast forward through my youth years, I was a good youth for the most part, especially when I was at church. But when I was not at church, I was just whatever I wanted to be. And when I was in college, I was leading worship for Campus Crusade for Christ at Missouri State, and had a friend whose name was Bob, and he was on the worship team with us. And one night after worship, Bob pulled me aside, and I thought he was going to tell me what a great guitar player I was or something like that. And Bob essentially pulled me aside and, put a hand on my shoulder and said, "Man, I think the Lord wants me to share something with you." And so then I was feeling really pumped that it was going to be something really good. And Bob essentially just told me that he felt like I was a faker. He didn't know if I was saved or not, but he was confident that I was not where I needed to be with the Lord. And I think at the time, to show him how spiritual I was, I think I yelled at him and said some bad words so he'd know how saved I really was, or something dumb, But God really used that to begin to break sort of down inside of me this disconnect. And so I left that conversation with Bob over the next few weeks. And I really didn't know if I was saved or not, but I was confident that I did not have a hold of the right end of the stick. If I had Jesus, I had missed something in there. During that season, God intentionally gave me more than I could handle to bring me to the end of myself so that I could find my identity and my sufficiency in Him. All of a sudden, worship wasn't just about music, but it was about Christ. It was weird, I know that should be normal, but it wasn't for me. And I began to lead worship more and more. As I led worship more and more for camps and churches, I began to talk more and more in between songs, and began to sense, just as Jeremiah talks about, the prophet Jeremiah, began to sense a fire in my bones to not just sing about God, but to preach His word. And so God led me to the pastorate, to be a senior pastor through a series of worship ministry, to a series of youth ministry. And now I'm the lead pastor of Hamlin Baptist Church. I'm in Springfield, Missouri. So I love our church. I've never loved a church family more than I love this church, and I've never felt more loved by a church family than I do here at Hamlin. Man, it's a great church, and I love being the pastor here, and love it more each and every day.